I just got asked the funniest question. This is easily the funniest thing that I have been asked this year. Now, I admit this year's only got a few days in it, but I just got asked, hey, Chael, what would you do with Alex Pereira? I said, why did you ask me that question? And they go, well, I don't know. Well, no, I'm asking if you asked me the question because there was a headline on Pereira, like did something just come out on Pereira? And frankly, I've been waiting for a little bit of news to drop. It could be Jamal Hill. There is a rumor that when Jamal comes back, Jamal will go right into a world title fight. I fully believe that rumor to be true. What I haven't heard speculation about is when the ankle and or Achilles is suspected to heal. So this is why I asked. And then Pereira's been in the news. I mean, he made it. He trolled us. But I fully support Alex Pereira, the troll, because I find Alex Pereira to be a very interesting guy. I find Alex Pereira as a champion of the world who should be somebody who's interested in selling pay-per-views. That's what I feel. And I feel if you don't study that side of the business, it's a problem for me. Like if you only see this as a sport, it's a problem for me. And for 99.9% of the guys, it is just a sport. Your commodity and your net worth is equal to your performance and nothing else. You have no other way that you can monetize your career other than be better at punching that thing in front of you than he is at punching you. That's 99.9% of guys. They're called contenders. They later going to be called veterans. You have that 0.1% that's a champion. And a champion has a different level of participation. And once you become champion, if you didn't understand it on your way to the top, once you get there, you've got to understand it crystal clear. As small as a window is, that's what everybody's career is, right? It's this window. We hear about it all the time. That window's constantly closing. You never know when it's going to close. It's not when you want it to be done. You don't wake up one day and you're done fighting. You wake up one day and this sport is done with you. It's the way it works. And as small as that window is, it is exponentially smaller at the top. However long you're going to be in the sport, which is just a glimpse in time, your days as champion is going to be so incredibly 2, 3. Most champions, do you know how many times most champions are champion? Are you guys aware of that? 1. Most, the greater percentage of, do not ever successfully defend a title. They get one night where they're in on the participation from a financial standpoint. Anybody that put their head down on a pillow as a little boy and had a dream of making it in the fight game and someday retiring because of the fight game, there's one piece to that equation that has to be true. You have to be in on the pay-per-view. Otherwise, the statement's just not true. It's just a dream. You're just a little boy dreaming. Being undefeated isn't going to do it. Being 20+0 isn't going to do it. Having 25 fights and knocking 25 men out is not going to do it. Being champion of the world, being the double champion of the world, being champ is not going to do it. You must have a piece of your career, even if one night, but you must have a piece of your career where you're participating in the pay-per-view. So, to see a champion not understand that concept, for me, is frustrating. And now all of a sudden, Alex Pereira looks like he understands that concept. He's trying to make some pay-per-views. He's out there trolling. He's out there sniffing around. He's throwing out some bones. He started with Adesanya. Now, I would rather not see Pereira fight Adesanya, but I think I'm speaking to you personally. But there's a big piece of big fights, and it's not just going out and doing the hardest goddamn thing, and that's what people always think it is. Well, this is the hardest thing, or this comes with the most risk, or this is the one that's more, or this is what the rankings say. It's not just going out and doing the hardest thing. One big piece about any level of competition, it could be any sport that you want to do, is he good enough to beat him? Yes or no? That's what I want to know. Or is those skills right there good enough to beat those skills right there? And therein lies the problem for me with Izzy versus Pereira, is they've already answered that. Both of them have. So now it's not a matter of can Pereira beat Izzy. It's not a matter of can Izzy beat Pereira. It's just a matter of let's have them fight to see who does win. And there's no competition, in my opinion. That's great that way. And they started on that. But it looks like Pereira's moved on. It looks as though Pereira's moved on to possibly even less likely pastures, which is at heavyweight. But boy, is there ever a story to be told there. I mean, as unlikely as that is to think that anyone's going to get champ opportunity. It's hard enough to get a champion opportunity. Then you get champ. Oh, I mean, you're talking about very rare air. For sure, I could count that on 2, but I think I could do it on one hand. In fact, should I do that just for fun? Let's see. We had Amanda Nunes. We had Daniel Cormier. We started the whole thing off with Frank Shamrock. You got to throw Randy Couture in there. Oh, of course, you had Henry Cejudo and or Dillashaw. Maybe you give that to both of them. I mean, right, you've got very, very few. Conor McGregor, okay, we got into 6. So now I'm proving that you need 2 hands. But you guys see how rare that this would be? You got Adesanya. You got Pereira himself. Boy, we're almost needing 3, aren't we? Huh? That one got away from me, and that should be a lesson to you kids when you're making an argument. Don't list how many things in case there's more than you thought. But how come nobody's diffused it? I guess maybe I'll start there. When I got asked the question, what about Alex Pereira? And I quickly responded, what about him? I thought maybe there was a headline. And there wasn't a headline. And supposedly, when Jamal Hill returns, he returns right into a title shot. I agree with that. I don't say supposedly as though I question that. I'm saying it in the regards of that is a big statement to make without having a speculation or a rumor of when that return is going to be. Is that an imminent return? Is it a 2024 return? Are we going to keep Are we going to keep Pereira from a fight until Jamal returns, like we're being told we're going to do to Aspinall? Aspinall's the champion, but we are not going to book him a fight until Jon returns and moreover fights Stipe and, I mean, whatever this hoax is. Or you just have another idea and have them fight each other. I don't think that's likely. I don't think a 205-pounder versus a heavyweight is likely. I don't think a guy that's made 205 pounds twice but claims to be 230 versus a guy who has to cut down to make the limit is all of that probable. But then again, what kind of validity are you putting in a world championship where the world champion isn't there? And I'm doing that at 205. And I don't mean to be rude to Pierre about it, but not for nothing. How much validity do you want to put into a championship when the world champion isn't there? We've seen that tested a time or two, and it hasn't been all that well. I know when the big bear, Daniel Cormier, had the belt, but Jon Jones was sitting in the principal's office for steroids, that there was an asterisk, and there still is next to his name. So how much credibility are we going to give a 205-pounder when the best 205-pounder in the world is in the front row and not into the octagon? Because the same thing's happening at heavyweight. You have a heavyweight who is clearly the best amongst active competitors. In fact, active competitors can't even make it a full round with them, but we're not ready to quite give him the nod. We're going to give it to another dude who's the heavyweight champion, but he's never been hit by a heavyweight and he's never hit a heavyweight. Like, that isn't a riddle. Jon Jones is the world heavyweight champion. Jon Jones has never been punched in the face by a heavyweight. Jon Jones is the world heavyweight champion. Jon Jones has never punched a heavyweight in the face. It's not a riddle. It's not meant to be funny. How much validity do you want to put in it? So if we're going to take the validity from both of them, we're going to pull down from Pierre just because it's what we do. We're just jerks in this sport. It's more fun to be negative than positive, so we're going to pull down from Pierre, and we're going to pull down from Aspinall. It sure seems like when you put two negatives together, you get one hell of a positive, doesn't it? And if Pereira isn't going to fight Aspinall, who's he going to fight? Why is there no rumor? Why is there no call out? Why is there no conversation at all? And then let me say the same about Tom. There's only one fight that works for Tom, and that would be Surreal. But Surreal doesn't deserve the fight. 1, because he flicked it against Jones, and 2, because when Tom sat in the front row with a perfect storyline, Surreal sandhagged his career. Now, even though that's the likely direction that this is going, is Aspinall versus Surreal, we as an audience need to push back and go, wait a minute. You got nothing for Surreal to do, but nobody wants to see him except the French fans anyway. So next time we go to France, bring trot surreal out there. Until then, Mr. Pereira over here has a wonderful suggestion. And UFC 300 appears to have a very viable problem, which is you're banking on Adesanya coming back to take on the winner of Strickland versus Duplessis, but you can never put everything in a card all into one basket. You got to have something else. We're clearly planning something at 170, which we're going to do by stabbing Blahal right in the back. George Masvidal has curiously announced his unretirement, which he does not need to have announced. He used to have to announce that when USADA was there. USADA left at the first of the year. George announcing that was unneeded. So why do we keep scrambling? Why do we keep looking around? Why do we keep fighting about fighting, meeting about meeting, and talking about talking? Why don't we just put Pereira versus Aspinall?